My dissertation is broadly interested in how civil rights lawyers and academics imagine the future of litigating racial justice. I was really interested in how we push the question of racial justice, thinking about what it meant for the future, and imagination felt like a really smart and interesting new avenue into asking good questions for the future. So all of litigation is often misunderstood as being past-oriented. We think about precedent as existing behind us, not in front of us. But a lot of what lawyers do, what academics do, is actually think about and create the future through their work. And so one of the core applications of the project is ultimately to think about, if we know how we are imagining the future today, then we can take more explicit steps both towards making or avoiding futures that we want to create and avoid.
My dissertation tries to understand why the civil rights laws that we have look the way that they do, why they focus on some areas and not others. For example, why there's so much more attention to voting rights and employment discrimination and not to housing discrimination or violence in policing. And I was drawn to that because I was interested in the politics of the 30s to the 60s when these laws were made, and also was trying to understand why these limits in civil rights law that we've had for so long are so persistent.
My dissertation is about how criminal court actors use risk assessment tools to make decisions in pretrial hearings. What I'm looking at is how judges and attorneys and different actors in the criminal court look at scores that are assigned to criminal defendants and negotiate the meaning of those scores. How are they interpreting what that score means, and how does it translate into a decision? I'm hoping that I can share the results of my research with people who are working in criminal courts so that they can get a better understanding of what it is they're doing on the day-to-day, and how their daily practices are affecting decision-making in criminal courts at large.
I'm Anna Riasti. I'm a research professor at the ABF. And this year, I'm co-chairing the committee that oversees the Doctoral Fellows program, which is a program at the ABF that brings in anywhere from 5 to 6 doctoral and postdoctoral students every year. And that allows the doctoral students to finish their dissertations and the postdoctoral students to work on transforming their dissertations into a book project or a series of articles. And while they're here, we provide them with a host of mentorship opportunities involving our community of interdisciplinary scholars. A PhD program, as many of us know from experience, is often really a solo endeavor and can be one that's a little bit lonely and alienating. And this program with the cohort model really provides a built-in network of support, both intellectually, socially, maybe even emotionally, for the students as they're progressing. So we as faculty members facilitate that by running a series of usually at least monthly workshops wherein students share work in progress and circulate that ahead of time, and then get feedback from their cohort members, the faculty that are overseeing the program, as well as their faculty mentor at the ABF.
So the program has a system by which you get both an internal and an external mentor, and the opportunity to both have folks within the network in the building who are open and ready to have you come in and talk about your work and help you think through problems, especially at a time when you're working through a difficult thing like a dissertation. Just having that opportunity and that space to get that degree of thoughtful mentorship is super important as well.
Especially now that I'm a couple of years away from when I was a doctoral fellow here at the ABF, something I've reflected on about the kind of networking opportunities that the fellowship offered was the kind of horizontal networking with other doctoral fellows and then folks who had just recently been doctoral fellows. And so it really opened my eyes to a lot of different opportunities that I wouldn't have learned about, even if some of them weren't ones that I was going to take. That has really helped me understand the way that higher education works, how much institutions can be different from one another, how much disciplines can be different from one another. That's been really helpful both for my career, but also as now someone who is an instructor, who's advising, mentoring undergraduate and graduate students. it's given me a lot more exposure with which to help guide them.
I've really enjoyed getting to meet ABF doctoral fellows who are across different points in their careers. Recently, I've had opportunities to meet with alums through the alumni workshop, and I've gotten to get a chance to not only get feedback on my own research, but also hear about the different paths that ABF alums have taken on their careers and get a sense of what kinds of paths or possibilities for me.
What's special about the ABF doctoral and postdoctoral fellowship programs is that they enmesh you in an entire community of scholars who are looking at law and society issues from a wide range of disciplinary perspectives. They also connect you to a global network of scholars who've come through the ABF over the years, so that we connect each generation to generations before and generations after, and keep people's ideas fresh and rich throughout their careers. And I should know, because I was a doctoral fellow here myself many years ago, and those connections, those ideas have continued to enrich my work throughout my career.